Talon Esports, and this will be a series to decide who gets to go to the grand final of these closed qualifiers for DreamLeague Season 24.
Prepare for battle.
And I do tend to agree. I mean, just looking at Aurora's draft, I think it's much simpler to execute, and to me, it looks a little bit on the better side. But it's all about how they play it, Jonathan, and, you know, quite frankly, who cares what I think? I'm not the pro player, trust me. Moving on. Mid lane. Do we see an early fight?
Doesn't look like any full commitment coming out. A very defensive smoke out from Talon. Just hugging her tier 1. And getting a forward position to plant her own wards. Smoke behind, outside of vision as well for Aurora. A late smoke to sneak around. Talon's ward's on the opposite side, so they're not going to preemptively see the smoke pop.
Bit of a wraparound as well. They're looking to go maybe through the Radiant Triangle here, Aurora. Slowly but surely, WS though in a position to break, and he will on TA 2000. Do they have the lockdown? They'll get a Sprout, they'll get an Impale out. WS taking a lot of damage. Jabs jumping in with the shield crash, but the chains are skilled up. So WS is barely able to get out. Will survive another day and avoid giving first blood away, and well, they'll try to fight over these boundary runes just a little bit. Looks like it should be a relatively even sort of trade between these two teams, and it will be. 2 for 2. WS, I don't think he'll mind going level 1 chains too much either.
Yeah, you're pretty happy with it. Would feel better if you had the Splinters facet, but does go for the Twisted Chakram to keep the chopping up, and it should be fine. You're looking at a slower lane here, perhaps, for the Terminasaw anyhow, considering that, again, you don't have the best of times up against Crystal Maiden with the Crystal Nova Frostbite spam, although you don't have Mangoes on hand for Kaori, so he's not going to be able to sustain as much, relying mainly on the Sage Mask, at the very least here. And again, for TA 2000, this is going to be a little bit more awkward as well. He is laning directly into the Ench without the Nyx around, so if you do opt to try to play around with the Nature's Call Ironwood Treant, Jokam will always be able to get the value point and enchant and take it away from you. That can be an issue, but you're a ranged hero up against a Tim. First few levels for WS, not going to feel too good here. Just going to have to play it a little bit safe.
Absolutely. You'll just hold on to the skill. I mean, it goes for Sprout anyway at level 1 to try and for that first blood, but certainly not going to have too much value here with the Treant for now. Probably will still have to skill it up though, because it does have some very nice tempo after the laning stage. It just allows you to farm the jungle very effectively as the Prophet. But for now, of course, not going to have the most impact. The bottom lane looks like Bosku and Q are having a few games, and Bosku going to lose his courier. Q will just walk away casually after throwing out an Impale, and it's like Cuckoo will get himself a level 2 mark here on the clockwork, so very nice for him. Doesn't seem like there'll be too much action in this lane, though. It seems like this is arguably one of the more boring side lanes we could have a look at.
And it is. Perhaps by level 3, Jabs and Q can start to opt to do a little bit more. But as long as Cuckoo's positioning's there to break off these double melees, it shouldn't be too much of a problem for Akashi. The wave is shoving out from the stacking that Q has done, so there is some free XP to gain here for Jabs and Q. And of course, Q can, once he hits level 2, can always just play with Mind Flare anyhow. Stand back, maybe clear out some camps, stack up the triangle as well if possible. Very, very calm lane, and that does favor Akashi to an extent, but Jabs is happy enough as long as he gets EXP here.
Jokam being very annoying with this Harpy Stormcrafter. Chain lightning, just such a huge range to be able to spam. And you remember when this creep had like infinite mana? Like you just never ran out? That was amazing. I loved being an Ench player back then. It was so great.
Yeah. I remember when the Purge creep was a little bit stronger as well. Just couldn't run away. That was funny. That was hilarious.
Great. I miss those days, John.
I do not. They were funny. Remember when it used to fly at full speed? One of those creeps used to fly at full speed. You just get free scout before they nerfed the move speed. That was also really funny.
It was. Cuckoo gonna try and go onto Jabs. Just a bit of a battery assault. Nothing to write home about. Jabs will be just fine to walk away. Mid lane's going very well for Arbet here on the Storm Spirit. Just no real contest from Makoto. And Makoto, in fairness, is still keeping up in terms of the CS, but is a little bit behind. And obviously, he is at a disadvantage here in this matchup, so Abed should inherently just be able to out-CS.
And I'm still a little bit surprised this was the last pickup for Mikado. Again, it does provide a lot of control, which Talon was lacking. It's just the laning is not the best feeling in the world for Mikado. Again, he's just copying all of the overload spam. Abed can just static slide his remnants forward, so you're never in firing range. He's got pretty decent rune control as well. Coming out here with an early rotation out from Q to just take away this water rune. So Mikado gets nothing for his own bottle. And they're just shutting down mid well. Abed should be scaling it into a very good level 6 timing. And at that point, perhaps you can start to think about some rotations coming into mid or the side lanes.
Well, even Q's around the corner. This mid lane, I mean, Q just sticking around and just actually denying some creeps in this jungle for Makoto. And that's another thing you can do as the Nyx assassin, is just get near the opponent's mid lane and just start mind flaring all the jungle creeps. All the big ones at least, and just be a real nuisance, ensuring they don't have the best comeback farm later on. As well, Q and Jabs both watching Cuckoo, but unwilling to jump in to try for a kill. Just trying to be a bit dissuasive here with the small camp pull from Cuckoo. Meanwhile, Makoto's going to find out the hard way that Q's been around this area, because he has lost one of his large creeps, but he'll stack. He'll be alright. Until Q comes back, of course.
Just can make that same move. I mean, Pangalier's just going to be not under any kill threat from Clockwork Luna. Yeah, just going to go clear again. Lines are already drawn out from Cuckoo as he knows Q is missing. And we'll be able to scout out those stacks. Q is just going to be happy enough. Might even be able to dive if Abed gets the chain control. Again, level 6 up for the Storm relatively early here.
Oh, it's a nice rotation. Makoto in trouble. TA2000 even TPing in for a first blood bonus himself. And Cuckoo, feeling a little bit charitable, try to TP in and help out, but it looks like it may cost him his own life, as Q will chase him down, and so will TA2000. Cuckoo even bringing the courier in. Does get stunned up. TA2000 does have the Sprout available, and that'll be surely another kill to come out for one of these heroes, as TA2000 does claim his second of the game. That's a fantastic start and a fantastic rotation from TA2000.
A little bit keen for Cuckoo to teleport so far forward, perhaps hoping that he'd teleport in time to at least provide some spacing there for Makoto to get Fisher off. Instead, gives a freebie away. The jungle is compromised. Abe gets an amplified damage rune, gets topped up, and can start to rotate down bot as well.
Top lane, at least Cowrie does go down. WS able to pick that one up. Nice little kind of dive here from WS, realizing that, you know, they aren't really able to stop him at this point at the level 5 mark. So we'll just chain forward and take care of the CM kill. Meanwhile, Abed showing up down in this bottom lane. No real targets to go for. It looks like they've already run off, but he can just secure this tier 1 bottom tower at the 7-minute mark. I mean, why the hell not?
Yeah. Get that siege going. Amp damage rune does fade away. But it was a good read from Talon. Akashi instantly TP'd onto his tier 2 while they were swinging around while the amp damage rune was running. Just farms up his camp right by the tier 2. There is vision here, but it is set to fade. You shouldn't have too much jump potential coming in, but they have lost the objective. They did have some space for WS to try to shove in top. Tier 1 is a little bit more commitment away from falling, but you are in a very happy game state for Aurora. You're finding all the farm you'd want on TA2000. You already have Abed willing to make rotations around the map. And for Talon, it's going to be a bit of a waiting game. You need level 6 to be up, especially on Cuckoo. Perhaps with Hookshot up, that's when you can start to consider some plays.
Bottom lane, they're rotating once again. They see Akashi without a tier 1 tower to help him out. Jabs, he'll jump in. Rolling Thunder's going to be there, and Akashi, he's looking like he's in pretty deep water. As they do back off, they leave TA2000 with him. Jab's going to wrap right back around here with the Rolling Thunder, and eventually does get the kill. TA2000 having to work pretty hard for that Jab's kill. As mid lane now, they are jumping Makoto on the Shaker. Abed does have a lot of mana to play with and will continue the chase onto Makoto, but thinks better of it now because WS has shown up. In fact, WS looking for the kill. Abed out of mana, looking at an arcane rune for himself. Can he pick it up in time? He can. WS still chasing him down with the chakra. But Abed at this point should be okay. Chains forward will not connect. Abed still trying to juke out WS. Will zip towards the north. Chakram will not connect either. So he's alright. WS having to commit quite a bit of time, but not really finding much for his trouble. As now they are going to fight once again, but a nice double impale from Q. Cuckoo dropping low, but so is Q. They'll take the Nyx Assassin. There's now Kaori trying to cut WS off, but there's not much he can do on his own. Here comes Abed though. WS overstaying his welcome. The Vortex to hold him down mid-chains. He'll turn onto Kaori, try to get a kill, and he does get it. But it will still cost him his own life.
You just don't have the hold for Abed. You need to have Mikado be at the point where he can gap close onto that storm and help follow through with the control, but his Blink Dagger is still a ways off. Lots of room now for Aurora to just siege onto mid. And this Timbersaw is going to be the tempo of Talon. So it's still a ways until the full Kaya. And even after that, you're going to need something like a pipe in this game for WS to really feel secure in front lining for the team. You are getting some space out for Akashi to try to recover. Does have lifesteal on hand and the max out glaives. So the farm can start to escalate. They've got a defensive ward set up as well for Akashi to feel secure here. But again, Aurora, they've got that early initiative on hand. Still making them stuck on mid for Talon's majority of heroes here.
Just trying to protect Makoto. They understand how important the Shake is going to be in this game. Top lane, Q does go down. WS able to pick up another kill for himself in the Timber. Nice little pick up there with WS, just finding that completely solo. Meanwhile, Cuckoo, playing a few games here with Abed, just trying to chip away with the cogs from the low ground, but not really connecting too much. So Aurora, they are slowly just establishing dominance on the map, just farming in the deeper pockets. Mind you, I mean, you look at the net worth graph, and it's TA2000 followed by all the cores of Talon, but here we go, another fight to break out. Joe Camp to go down. No help to come in for poor old Joe Camp.
No. You're happy enough to just sacrificing the supports. At the very least, the cores are all farming up. Mikado again glued on mid. You've had a lot of room for WS to just play tag up top. No one willing to play tag with him after he gets a couple of solo kills. And you're buying space for Akashi to just farm. All of these cores need a little bit of initial farm. You're happy enough to sacrifice here on Jokam to get that done. And they do have level 6 up on Cuckoo as well, so the hookshot is ready if there are connections to be made, but no one really feeling confident just yet. Maybe outside of WS to make a play.
Cuckoo's still hanging around mid. Like, he just doesn't feel like Makoto's safe, and he's just accepted the fact that he's going to have to sacrifice his own game to ensure that Makoto can continue farming towards that blink. In fairness, he is about 150 gold away now for the full Blink Dagger up on the Shaker. Whether he tries to get active afterwards, we don't know yet, but I imagine we could see a smoke coming out once the Blink is there, and well, he will start shifting it out on the Courier. Perhaps they could get a surprise initiation on Abed with this.
You need to get a lot of value from this reveal and Blink. Like, if they can chain that with, say, the hookshot follow through, with the enchant plus fissure, you have enough of a window to burst someone down. Do have level 6 already up on Kudo, so you can scout forward. Sentry coverage from Talon on their own side of the river isn't particularly amazing. Ways to sneak around here for Q, but is focusing on just keeping track of WS. And Talon, I mean, again, it's just hugging their side of the river. Only WS really making the deep inlays across the map. No smoke yet for Talon. Mana pool not the healthiest for Mikoto, to be fair, but we'll buy one out now in Jokam. See if it aligns once it gets delivered. And we're inching towards Abed and his timing for what should be just a full Orchid coming through for the Storm. Instant control coming in. Jokam and Mikado will make that play now.
Radiant are scanning.
Well, they're going to try and move into that dire triangle, but they've already scanned out and nobody's really there. No stacks either, so there's not too much value being in this area for Talon right now. They'll take a creep away, they'll just enchant here with Jokam, but that's probably going to be about it. The smoke just does not pan out. So Talon just back to the farm game. Aurora more than happy to sit back and continue farming their own core items here. A bit of a shame for Talon. I mean, you really do want to get that big initiation off, at least with the blink reveal, but it just never comes out. Now a smoke out from Aurora. So 4-man smoke rushing towards the southern side of the map. Exactly where Makoto's standing as well, if he's not too careful.
Radiant are scanning.
So they might even connect down mid and just secure Jocam's life instead and maybe go for the mid-tier 1 tower. Meanwhile, TA2000 and Cuckoo going to run into each other. Cuckoo able to steal the Wisdom Rune and does TP up a mid lane. So they are going to end up losing Jocam. Eventually. Q will pick his life up.
You're not too unhappy again to drop Jocam like that. He cops the smoke. That's a 4-man commitment out from Aurora. Doesn't find a core. Talon still gets to farm freely on Akashi, who is just working onto a relatively standard Luna build-up. Manta into a Hurricane Pike before we see anything like the Conda. Perhaps a BKB can sneak into that build order as well, if necessary. In a stalled-out game like this, it's hard to say who it favors, because I feel like the scaling of Talon is pretty damn good, but so is Aurora's. And again, the big question is, what other tools will you get outside of Makoto's stuns to control Abed?
Echoes in, but it's not much damage, but it won't matter. Makoto, he'll get the kill he's been looking for onto Abed, and I was a little bit concerned with that Echo Slam, because it really just felt like it did nothing. But in the end, they had enough.
I believe there was a shield rune running there on Abed, so the burst damage not quite there. This time around, though, they find a big kill. Akashi.
That's a bit concerning. That's your +1 Luna going down. Q will take that kill on the Nyx Assassin, and that's going to help him escalate much quicker towards his own Dagon, as now Kaori getting caught out on the CM. Should go down and will. This little hook shot there from Cuckoo to ensure they get that kill. And so it seems as though Aurora not going to be able to quite commit for that tier 1 tower. Zabed? Is he hunting down Makoto? I don't believe so.
Dire are scanning.
And Abed also opts for a different build. Ends up building up the Witchblade over the Orchid with that Quarterstaff. So it does have a little bit more mana sustain for himself, a little bit of tankiness and some right-click damage on hand. Talon just sieging onto mid. And with an Ench, even without the army, got enough damage flying in from the slow pokes they've done. So they open up the map a little bit more. I'm a bit surprised that Talon are allowed to just do this, but the teamfight potential of Aurora without the Rolling Thunder isn't particularly amazing anyhow. Jabs did opt for the Echo Saber as well to help them with the chase down, so you don't have the Aura play in yet for Aurora. And WS also skipped out on his own Kaya to ensure his team can take these early fights with Pipe. So Talon are starting to feel some tempo coming in. We'll say the space given to TA2000 is a little concerning. Once this BKB's up in the NP, it can be some issues here.
WS, I mean, he's a tanky boy, but they are doing plenty of damage right now to the Timber Saw. Still, it has not proven to be enough quite yet. WS is perfectly fine, as now Cuckoo is the target. They will secure the Clockwork's life, but they are unable to finish off the Timber. So WS does manage to get away, as now Aurora smoke up again, trying to move in. Q does get spotted by Makoto. Impale will not land here from Q. So the smoke is running on 3 heroes from Aurora. But it might be somewhat obvious now to Talon that they are smoked up, and it seems like Aurora, they'll give up on the smoke.
Forced to head back, and they find a support pickoff. They waste some of Talon's time. But in comparison, you're dragging TA2000 into these engagements. Again, it's working out. Akashi is still freely farming. Outside of that one move they made down bot, still been relatively free on this Luna, as the Manta style now not yet a major threat on that Luna, but the farm pace is kicking in. That is one thing to be concerned about. The scaling of the Luna is quite high. Q.
Let's set up. Does find Jocam. Not going to be an easy kill, though. In fact, Q now might be in a bit of danger. I mean, he's got Abed around, but Abed does not want to stick around to see what happens here, and well, Makoto will take care of it. No problems here for the side of Talon. It's Q maybe getting a little bit too excited with that Dagon pickup.
That he is. Jocam is relatively tanky. He has a bracer and a belt of strength on hand on this Ench. So even just trying to get that burst with a level 1 Dagon, not the quickest. And you're happy enough on Talon to get a freebie like that. 7-8. A very even game, a very cautious game from both sides here, although.
They are going to find Kaori. Nice little hook shot from Cuckoo once again, and Makoto will jump in and get the job done. And Cuckoo letting him know it's just a support diff. What can you do?
Yeah, he's been loving that voice line since coming in. You know, good old Cuckoo. Just letting everyone know. 8-8, game evening out. Slight 2k lead for Talon. Roshan is open for the side of Talon to try to take, and they will. They do have the damage here with Akashi and Mikoto, of course. So this shouldn't take too long. Q could try to scout out, but he's on the opposite side of the map with no TP. And that should just be a freebie now for Talon. For Aurora, it does feel like they're just waiting for item timings to kick in. I just don't know what, because Jabs has 3k in the bank without really showing what he wants. Whether he wants to try to rush an Axe, he does buy something fully out. On the Courier, it is just his Blink. So they do have initiation angles to take now under Pangolier. And again, the BKB for TA2000 is just about 300 gold off. So your NP is going to be that much harder to burst. A lot of the damage coming in right now is from WS and his Chakram, his Whirling Death, of course. BKB will put a stop to the rip and tear of Talon. See if they can get anything from this Aegis. Should just lead into pretty much safe farm here for Akashi. Maybe you poke onto some tier 2s, but not expecting much more beyond that.
Look at the Tormentor. Cuckoo will get his jetpack up now on the clock. BKB now available on TA2000. He's still well ahead of the net worth department on this Nature's Prophet. Akashi, though, not really too far behind. Just about 300 gold behind, in fact. So the Luna having a pretty damn good time as well. Unsurprisingly, these two teams are playing very, very carefully around each other, as is tradition. And neither side looking to try and make any plays anytime soon by the looks of it, as they are going to secure some more core items.
Just realized 8-8, no double digits at 21 minutes.
That's
You know,
right.
someone's getting nervous. Some people are getting nervous in chat. Love to see it.
Don't rile up the betting crowd, John.
Yeah, love to see it. As
Don't
they
do
smoke,
it.
someone could get 2 digits up now.
They're moving into that triangle again, but TA2000 is just kind of abusing his greater treants here to farm the triangle instead of himself.
Radiant are scanning.
Arbed retreating as well. Makoto will spot him out, but the smoke is broken. They will not be able to get the surprise initiation they were looking for. But Talon, they look confident enough to try and force this bottom T2 tower. Even a Tormentor to be taken if they can get this T2 tower down.
Dire's bottom
And
tower
Aurora,
is under attack.
it does not seem like they feel confident trying to defend this. And they will
Dire's
not.
bottom tower has
They have smoked up though.
They have a ward by
They're going to fight for the
Tormentor.
Tormentor. Cuckoo, he's in the way though. Jetpack activated. They'll pop the Rolling Thunder. Or will they? Jabs, he'll eventually get there, but Makoto's already got the shards up, and they do retreat. In fact, Q, he misses an impale. Joe Cam not getting caught. Meanwhile, Akashi, he's stuck in a Rolling Thunder here with Jabs, but it's not going to mean too much because he'll turn right back around and fight Jabs man to man. Jabs now in trouble, trying to get out of there, but it's not looking too good. And Cuckoo, what a hook! Perfect positioning from Cuckoo. He says it all, John. What can you do?
Yeah, I mean, that's just heads up from Talon. Having that gem on hand, having to clear for that opt, backing up in the nick of time. Aurora, and this was my concern with Nature's Prophet. My concern with why the slow pacing didn't feel good for Aurora. The NP, in terms of scaling in comparison to Luna, I think in a direct one-to-one comparison in a vacuum, it's perfectly fine. Your issue is, you're playing NP into Timbersaw. You actually need trees around you for your damage to scale up. You don't have output when a Timbersaw just rips all the trees apart. You're not getting anything from your innate, which is really the steroid that allows NP to dish the damage out. And there's also some slight counter synergy when Jabs does go for the Rolling Thunder. He's going to end up breaking trees as well, which is, again, a nice chunk of bonus damage here with the Spirit of the Forest. So it's a little bit difficult for TA2000. Like, they had Akashi completely isolated. All he has is Manta.
Yeah.
And he just did not take damage. There was just no output.
Radiant's bottom
It was a very, very
is
split
under
kind of
attack.
fight from Aurora that time around, and
Radiant's
very
tower
rushed kind of fight as well, because it seems like they weren't quite expecting the Tier 2 attempt to happen.
fallen.
Here we go again. I mean, Aurora, they're sneaking up from the backside. They see Akashi with a minute left on the Aegis. In fact, make that 40 seconds. There is going to be a counter smoke now from Talon, though.
Are scanning.
I think Aurora trying to be very patient, just waiting for the Aegis to expire on Akashi before they make their play. But in fact, they'll break their own smoke anyway, and they'll just clear out the waves and retreat. So it looks like it's all about salvaging these objectives right now and not allowing the side of Talon to start going on a high ground again, as Jabs even popping the Rolling Thunder just to be able to clear out this creep wave. But the hook! Cuckoo!
Cuckoo!
Oh, what a hook! Oh, you know, I am so happy Talon took this man in. I really am. It's so good to see Cuckoo. Oh,
Yeah, it
that was
really
fantastic.
is. That was just heads up. He was keeping track of Jokam from the rocket he sent out. They might be able to find a little bit more here as well. They've got the gem and WS, but Q does manage to finagle away. I don't think he burst down Mikado at this point, sadly.
We'll see. Makoto here gets the BKB off in time.
Oh.
Echo Slam committed as well. Q taking a fair bit of damage, gets destroyed by Makoto, but TA2000, he'll take down the Shaker and immediately TP's out. No hookshot was available that time around, so he could not cancel the TP, and Kaori,
He's
sadly,
blocked
of course,
by
going
the
to be left behind.
That statue.
Lovely.
It's so dumb. This innate is just one of the weirdest things. Even Cuckoo's like, what the hell is this? Why can't I walk? It's so dumb.
I didn't even know that existed till now, John. Thank you for that. What is that?
It's hilarious.
What even
The
is
spirit
that?
Cairn. Cairn? It's a 75 radius fissure when he dies. He gets EXP around it. It stays until you respawn. It is the silliest little thing. It's just weird. It's perfect in that spot, though. Akashi.
I bet you they... Oh, hold on a minute. Bottom lane. They found Akashi. Akashi not able to fight back. He will go down. Cuckoo looking to get his way out of there. With the jetpack should be alright, as now they're looking to turn back around and see if they can force a fight onto TA2000, and it seems like they've got him. TA, he did not have the BKB available at the time. He had just committed it to try and TP away, so you get Akashi's life, but you trade your own POS one. You know, it's still better for Aurora, but it's not that great.
It's not that great. Your one big thing is that you are giving Abed some galvanized stacks, allowing the Storm to have a little bit more mana to play with, have a little bit more mana to farm around with. You're getting some room out as well for Jabs to scale up on the Pangolier, and going for a lot more presence, going for the Ags. Again, no auras coming in here for the side of Aurora, so there's no preventive measures to prevent the burst damage out from Talon. For Talon's part, you've got a fresh BKB up for Akashi. Didn't quite have that on hand when he was ganked up. Oh.
They caught this time.
No, Mikado just slammed, I suppose, illusions. Just,
Oh.
it's fine, I guess.
That's
2
okay.
minutes down, where it's an opening. I mean, to be
That's
fair,
alright.
when Mikado was chasing TA2000, he didn't even fissure. He was just running up to get a right click with the enchant. So Mikado can act like a boss if he wants to for a little bit here. He has earned the
fine.
right.
It's a 10k advantage now the way of Talon. I mean, Akashi's becoming a massive, massive problem now, going into the Kanda build-up, which is the part where Luna starts to feel ultra scary. Bottom lane, TP's coming in, hookshot perfect from Cuckoo. Right underneath vision was Q, and, well, you're not going to get out of the cogs.
No.
Sadly, that scuttle facet does not work against cogs.
Rather unfortunate. You can't just run through electricity, but Nyx is a bug. You know, it's only right that he gets zapped around Michael Phoenix, as
That's
is
true.
the lore.
Joe Cam, fighting over a wisdom room.
Radiant's top tower
Carry,
is under
unable to
attack.
take it away by the looks of it. Joe Cam will force him out. Meanwhile, on the other side, WS, he'll secure the other wisdom room. Happy days here for Talon, just denying the bonus XP for Aurora.
I'm a little bit surprised. This is not quite the Aurora we were seeing in the past day. Talon have been able to put in work. And, you know, I'm also surprised with Talon's performance. Again, when you look at the most recent third-party tournament, it was a little bit shaky, TA 2000.
He's running up to the carry by himself. But Cuckoo, what's the plan here, sir? Jetpack's away. Glapier's going to lock him down.
He's not
Here
dying.
comes WS. He's not.
Oh,
the hook!
Cuckoo!
Oh, Cuckoo!
Come on!
He's too good. There's a reason they call him the godfather of Filipino Dota, John. Here comes Jabs. Run, Jabs, run. This man, I mean, who has the balls to do that, John? Who has the balls to do that?
Just Cuckoo right now. What a maniac. Running up, forcing everything onto him, not dying, having confidence with a Solar Crest to stay alive, forcing out the Gleipnir to just pin him down, doesn't even die, turns around for the hook shot. That's just perfection out from Cuckoo. That is a highlight if I've ever seen one. That is, he's styling, Mr. Cuckoo is. And it's funny. Feels like this is almost like T1 Cuckoo when he was on offlane, if he ever played Clock or off. It's just that confidence back for him, which I feel like we haven't seen in a while, but it's going to be showing off in this game at the very least. Roshan opening up for the side of Talon Aurora. It's just a little bit lacking. I think, again, this itemization for Jabs to go for pretty much just damage with the Blink Ags Echo Saber Harpoon, blink damage and control. It's not providing them as much. You were talking about in the draft. Jabs loves his Aura heroes. This time around didn't opt for it. Cuckoo.
Cuckoo, he'll get caught out. Sort of pick up there for Aurora, but Roshan does go the way of Talon, so they'll be more than happy with that anyway. Of course, Akashi, he'll probably take the time to just farm up the full Kanda before they try to go for another big fight. I mean, why the hell not? He's just farming at a pace that you can't really keep up with anymore. TA 2000, you start to wonder what's going through his mind in this game one, because it really does start to feel like he's not able to man up against the Lunar anymore. Things are becoming rather problematic here for the Nature's Prophet. WS going to make matters even worse now because he's got a full sight device up on the Timber. That is not going to be a very fun time for Arbed or TA 2000, I think.
I mean, it's the sight of Vice and having this full Ags up, so the all-damage barrier is going to be near impossible to burst down. WS is just going to be able to sustain true in the middle of these engagements. Again, for TA 2000, Nature's Prophet theoretically can scale to almost the same extent as a Luna. Luna's still overall better, but it's even worse when you just don't have trees to play with. Even with trees around, he wasn't able to try to burst down Cuckoo with double Bracer, Solar Crest, and Drums on. And this is a relatively tanky Clockwork. It does feel like maybe something defensive coming in can start to help the cause. Again, BKBs on your other cores, perhaps. Maybe just Abid, really, so he can have the confidence to zip up. He does have his full sight device of his own, so they can get that instantaneous control and burst onto someone if they see him.
They're gonna find Kaori. Kaori, gonna try for a TP play out. They've got the vision, but they don't have the damage. Kaori will barely make it out. Post call for the CM. Akashi, meanwhile, trying to force high ground a little bit, it looks like. Maybe even just trying to force a defense out here from Aurora. Two-man smoke is there from Jabs and Kaori, but they're the only ones in the base right now. Jabs is showing up to boot. But Q and Arbed, and they're not here yet. They're coming. The Rax is gone, though. At least the range Rax is down. Akashi, he'll keep going for more. There's a four-man smoke. Arbed will zip through with a Hex out, but where's the follow-up to it? It wasn't there. Jabs will come in now with a Rolling Thunder. Keep in mind, he has an Aegis up on the Luna, so it's not going to be the easiest of fights here for Aurora as they're trying for WS, but he's just so tanky. And eventually, Akashi just walks out. Aegis still intact. They get the Rax and they'll come back another day.
No one could afford to stand and hit the banner as well, so even with all the rolls coming out, Creep Wave is still healthy. Managed to clear out one Rax just like that for Talon. Still have 2 minutes on this Aegis for Akashi as well. Didn't have to pop BKB. Didn't really have to pop anything from Talon, whereas you had to expend a roll. You reveal your sight of Vice on Abed, They have to take this fight outside. They are in a good angle here for Aurora if they can get the jump in.
They're going to find jabs. Hawkshot off the mark this time, but they've got their Hex to set up here as Akashi's going to pop the Eclipse very, very early. But it won't matter as Carry. No, Carry makes it out too. No, he doesn't. Cuckoo gets him with the Rocket Flare. Some difference. What can you do?
Cuckoo. Kaori gives a tip back. Pretty heads up from Cuckoo anyhow. And onto the high ground they go once more. Still a lot of time on that Aegis. But Aurora is starting to look like they're lacking options. I thought the Sight of Vice of Abed would do more, but no one can jump in to follow through from that control.
Hugh's going to jump in. They'll Hex up WS again, trying to blow him up, but WS is just about to die, but gets the 4-staff away. Meanwhile, Akashi going right onto TA2000, and just look at this, the Prophet, he can't do it. He goes down. There's no buyback for TA2000. Meanwhile, Q will drop to Makoto and jabs. He's still trying to fight this one out with Akashi, but he needs to run. Oh, Akashi's too big now, I think, John. He'll start onto the tier 4 towers. He doesn't even care for the Megas. Both tier 4s down, and they're going to retreat. They have no idea TA2000 doesn't have the gold for buyback right now. Still 30 seconds left on the Aegis of Akashi. Jump in is there from jabs, but Akashi would love a reset. He's almost hoping they kill him here. They're just not doing it yet. They're holding out for another 20 seconds, keeping Akashi low in HP. See if they can time it perfectly here for the Luna. Akashi, though, he's going to back out just in the nick of time. No kill to come. And of course, the Aegis will reset him anyway on expiring. So they can just go high ground again.
Concern for Talon, they're going to have Eclipse back up as well. WS, confident enough to stand forward, has the reactive armor active, ready again. You just don't have the burst damage for him. Like, even with TA2000 spawning back in, I don't know if they have enough.
They're going to try, but Kaori, he's been caught out by Cuckoo another time, and the Cogs are just pushing Kaori around everywhere. He'll survive for now.
Oh.
WS does finally go down. Maybe this is the opening they're looking for, but WS does buy back into the team fight. He's happy to go again. Jabs in the meantime, between a rock and a hard place, he's gone. He'll buy back. But how do you engage this fight? Like, you haven't got Rolling Thunder. It's really all up to Abed to try and start this one, but the Ancient's now under siege. Who do you aim? How do you do this one? They're going to try. A big impale out from Q, landing on 3 targets, but Akashi's got his BKB off. Q is down. Onto TA2000, they'll go in the fountain. Akashi, he wants to go for a dive, and he's got him. TA2000's gone. Akashi with no mercy. No mercy whatsoever as Talon. They'll take game number 1 against Aurora.
Yeah, not the result I'd expect whatsoever.
Final and, well, for the side of Aurora, of course, they are now playing for their lives in the upper bracket. Thankfully for them, though, if they did end up losing this game too, Jonathan, they can still go down to the lower bracket and proceed through there. That'll all be happening tomorrow, depending on who wins this one. By the way, I don't want to tilt you, Jonathan, but Carrie's gone for the Spellbound facet, which I know you're not a very big fan of.
Yeah, we've seen a few players take it. You're not going to be as durable, but you do get some offense potential here for Kaori. So they could try to poke. Wow, TA2000 typed the full have fun instead of the HF. That is dedication. That's a message right there.
That's an intimidation tactic, Jonathan. You know when someone spells everything out, they're intending on having a very good game themselves. It's like when SEA players say, you know, run down mid. You know, just go down straight to the Ancient. You never trust the GG call. Never trust it. Oh. TA2000. He's alright. For now. But for how long? Cuckoo's going to break his smoke and run into him. They've got the go out. They've got the brambles to lock him down. And, well, TA2000, at least for now, is not having fun.
No, certainly not. Ward should be taken out later on. You should know very clear where that ward placement is at.
How?
What?
Half of me expected Cuckoo to type back have fun after killing off TA2000.
Cuckoo is reformed. Remember, he named himself Peacemaker at some point. Now he is a clown. I believe his Steam username's Clowny for whatever reason. Hey, come on, Cuckoo's chilled out a bit. They play role-playing games right now.
Okay, that's all right. Nothing wrong with that. So Carry's going to realize that it's not too smart of an idea to try and go for any kind of attacks here onto WS and Jokam, and it's going to be a very nice block into the Tier 1 tower now. So TA2000, he'll get the initial wave, but of course now there's going to be a double wave pushing towards WS in just a moment. So happy days already for Talon down in this bottom lane.
My sprites are with us.
That mid lane, of course, Makoto and Abed going to be going at it. Makoto should be okay, but I think this is a pretty even matchup. I don't think one really destroys the other as Jokam goes down bottom lane.
Yeah. Again, he was playing poke with Kaori for quite a fair bit of time. And TA2000, very cheap to just toss out LSA. And again, has a lot of reach. Level 1 for Dark Willow. Not the most durable. You don't have the Shadow Realm to dive back into. So, some good punishment coming out there from Aurora to even things out a little bit. Taking a look up top, of course, you've got Akashi and Cuckoo on the SF Bristleback lane. Up against Q and Jabs on the Mars Hoodwink. This one is a very interesting one. Akashi's already very low on mana. She's not going to be able to sustain through with the Shadow Raises. Does need the level to get into the presence of the Dark Lord, but once you have that up, and you just spam a couple of the Nasal Goo, you get the slow there, you line up for the raises, you get more slows off of that, and you can just kind of run down. You don't have Shadowmire for the slows on the raise though, but the Goo alone should provide enough, and you can clean up with the right clicks well. It's an interesting one to think about. Whether or not you can connect that though, in this lane, with the threat of a Mars, with how tanky Jabs is, you're probably not going to see too much commitment from Talon early on here.
I think you'd much rather go for Q if you could. Speaking of, Cuckoo's going to try and get aggressive here with Q, but Q is just kind of fighting back. But now the Goo stacks are starting to really hurt here for Q. Cuckoo does end up retreating though, as Akashi was making his way over. Thankfully for Q though, the Bushwhack does land and ensure he can walk away.
You can just see how cheap it is for Cuckoo to actually do that. 12 mana for Viscous Nasal Goo. And the one thing though, if all of this movement fails out, you do get a lot of value from your wand. There's a lot of burst healing on hand as well for Q and Jabs. Hatch Cuckoo out.
That's good. Bit of trouble, and a nice spear. Jabs, he'll secure the kill. Akashi with a creep wave underneath the tier 1 tower, unable to help out. Nice little pick up there for Jabs, and he'll even find the courier of Akashi. That'll be your brown boots away for about a minute or so for the SF. Not very happy here on Akashi. But some nice plays here from Aurora already.
Feeling happy in the laning phase, 2-1. Coming out pretty well in almost every single lane. The mid lane is standing out here for Abed. Not much a puck can really do to stave off a Sand King, of course. Abed does have that Dust Devil. He goes for the standard 1-2-1 build, probably going for 1-3-1 at the end. And not much Mikado can do to shove away. So a little bit of a slower time here for the puck. Should lead into some really strong timings for Abed. Your rotation potential on Talon isn't amazing this time around. I mean, it's a Bristleback running up to you. Along with maybe Jokam coming in with Maze, but you're not going to see any of that kind of move early on. The side lanes of Talon just hurting a little bit more in comparison to Game 1, and a lot more leeway here for Aurora to get things done.
TA2000 having a pretty damn good time down in the bottom lane. Not really too much contest here for the laner. Gary's doing a very good job of just forcing them back here with that Alpha Wolf. TA2000 just controlling the creep wave underneath his tier 1 tower, so it's again very easy for him to secure some nice farm on the laner. Not too much action happening in mid so far by the looks of it. I mean, Makoto and Abed have been going back and forth, but CS-wise, they're both very even at the moment. Abed is slowly getting a little bit more aggressive now with the 3 points up in Sandstorm, but going to be rather hard to be able to try and secure a kill here on Makoto. They do have Q coming in. They're going to try. A jaunt away perhaps is coming, but no. The Acorn shot into the Bushwhack from Q. Going to ensure Makoto has no way out. And a very nice setup here from Abed.
That's the kind of pressure that was lacking in that first game. Ensuring that the early tempo for pucks thrown off. Again, we've seen what happens when it takes a little bit longer for the Witchblade blink on a puck. It just doesn't feel like it has a lot of play as a hero. And you are reliant on Mikado to make some plays here. He is most of your jump-in control. So that's going to hold Talon back, even if it's just one kill. The strong start for Abed, setting a strong foundation for the side of Aurora.
Trying to go onto Jabs, but the Bushwhack is there again from Q. Into the Spear from Jabs. Cuckoo will try and come back in and help out. In fact, Jabs going to be a little bit cautious because now the Goo is stacking up, but he's getting very, very slow. He does have the God's Rebuke, but it's not going to make the difference.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Oh boy. It really is a matter of you cannot underestimate those stacks of Goo.
You really can't. The Goo plus even just the value point in presence of the Dark Lord. It's a ridiculous amount of minus armor. You don't have a lot of base armor to begin with here on the Mars. You only have 4 to start off. No Ring of Protection either. You're a sitting duck once 2 stacks are up here from Cuckoo. And they get the rotation out from Kaori, but he'll just head back through the gate and back bot. And Talon hanging in the laning phase. I would still say that things are looking swimming here for Aurora. Swimmingly well. Mikado, despite, again, having a bit of a harder time, is still keeping up.
A bit of a chase on WS, but looks like he is going to make it out.
Dire's middle tower.
Kaori trying to be as annoying as humanly possible here with the old Mud Golem. We'll split them very soon for a double stun, I think, on WS, but not going to be anywhere near enough to try and get the kill. In fact, he will be just fine. Arbet, in the meantime, just taking stacks away from this dire triangle. Arbet already having an extremely good game on the mid-Sand King. Top of the net worth board here, just ahead of Makoto at the moment.
Radiant are scanning.
It's still a very slow game, 3-2. Wisdom Runes are going to spawn. Kaori trying to intervene and steal Jocam's one. In fact, he's going to try for the deny attempt, and he gets it. A very nice deny from Kaori. That's going to be a little bit frustrating for Jocam because he's stuck at level 3.
Both the Talon supports are stuck at level 3 right now. Not the best position to be in. You have a little bit of an edge now for Kaori at 4 into 5. And at the very least, Q is also lagging behind here, but it does help the cause in trying to play catch-up on Aurora's supports in comparison. Name of the game for Aurora should be kicking tempo up soon. They are working onto a Maelstrom for TA2000, has the Arcane Boots up, Javelin flying in. Could start to consider some burst plays. Don't manage to connect the LSA though. I guess it's just going to be fine to sneak away. In a more passive game,
Radiant are
if it does get really passive and the only action we see is at 20 minutes, I think that's when Talon is also ready to play. That's when you should have more items up in your SF. You'd have the levels to support Cuckoo at 15 to 20. That's when it kind of starts to really build up. So a moderate pace like this is not bad for Talon, but again, Aurora, we should be expecting a little bit more as we approach a 10-minute mark, maybe into the 12-minute mark. That's when they can really consider these burst plays. Already the gate usage out from TA2000 here.
Top lane, Akashi. Well, he will be able to back off successfully. TA2000 to take the camps away that were stacked up. Kaori's going to get started on the top tier 1 tower as well here with the Ench. You've only got Cuckoo and Akashi around for now, but you could certainly see some TP rotations coming here from the mid lane very, very soon if this push does continue. But without a siege creep, they are not going to bother continuing. They just really want the kill attempt onto Akashi. Problem is Cuckoo does block off jabs, but it won't matter. The arena is down, and they do catch the SF. Akashi will go, but here come the TPs. It's only really Jocam, though. Cuckoo will drop to Boon. And Makoto, who ran up the old-fashioned way, just doesn't make it there in time to help.
And that's the aggression we're looking for here from Aurora. Talon, their lineup can't really do much. They'll find a freebie in Jocam once they start to connect here, but Abed will actually just TP away, looking for opportunities bot.
They find something. WS is going to chain towards the low ground, but it's looking pretty hard to get away from this one. Abed will be able to secure another kill, his 3rd of the game now. And things are looking very good so far for Aurora. Off to a great start.
Exactly what you'd want here for Aurora. All your lanes went, again, fairly well, all things considered. Maybe Jabs was a little bit slower, considering that one death in lane. But he gets the levels he needs. He's got some room to farm up. Their own triangle, it's not really contested, not really stacked up either, to be fair. He is free to just get some more gold going their way. For Talon's part, we haven't seen activity yet from Mikado. He still has a Dream Coil set to go. But again, being slowed down just a little bit on mid, still has to wait for the Witchblade. Likely only going to feel comfy once a blink is up. And WS for his part as well. surprisingly is opting for the Kaya first over a pipe. You're not going to have that protection around for the damage that Aurora has lined up here. And Aurora are not resting, still going out with a smoke. WS would be a tasty target.
And he would be. Try and jump in Arbed. He's got the epicenter into the Burrow Strike, and WS will just completely melt. It's Arbed now dominating on the Sand King, 4th kill of the game. And the Talon, they're really yet to move here, it seems like. They're just not really willing to get going. As top lane, maybe they can find jabs. Coil will be committed, but do you have enough damage here for this Mars? Cuckoo will move in. Makoto's still going. Jab's going to go for the TP attempt away, and there's no cancel. There's no cancel for it. Unfortunate.
And they only have one stable stun, which is really Dream Coil. Yeah, you have Brambles and Chris Crown, but Chris Crown has a delay. Brambles is not necessarily reliable. So you're really free to dance around here on Aurora. And Talon, again, their draft is greedier. They need to hold out around 20 minutes is where I'd say, 15 to 20 is where I'd say some of these initial items and level spikes start to kick in. But Aurora aren't going to be resting until that point. And they've got a 4K lead very early on in this game, 7-2. They are looking dominant so far, and this is the Aurora we were expecting from Game 1. They have managed to get their groove here in Game 2. Find the top tower for free with a creep army of Kaori. And they can just start sneaking across, get some forward vision to spot Akashi out, and just further damage Talon's economy. Talon, for their part, I mean, again, there's no real play here. You have Dream Coil Requiem as your real teamfight abilities with perhaps a Bedlam, Terrorize, and Bramble on top. No easy way of finding connections, and Aurora can just constantly run in and take your objectives.
I mean, that's going to be a tier 1 mid tower now going down. They'll glyph. The creep wave is on the way though, and Arbed is not looking to retreat anytime soon. So that will be the tier 1 mid tower to go down. In fact, he'll jump in for a Cuckoo attempt, and well, the sharpshooter will land from a mile away. Cuckoo will go down once again on the pos 5 bristleback. And Aurora really running circles around Talon now. They look to just keep going. I mean, they understand the advantage they hold at the moment. 5k net worth advantage to be exact. And Talon, they really just don't have an answer.
No. Their lineup just has no way of playing right now. No control. Your cores are not going to be comfy until BKBs are up at the very least. You don't have a pipe lined up again for WS. Just wants a Conda, wants to try to threaten. Map space is shrinking. Kaori's taking camps. They still have Epi ready on Abed. He has his Blink for initiation as well. And Talon just have to play a farm game.
Grouping up in the mid lane just to try and hold that tier 2 tower. Just in case Aurora want to try and go. And Arbed, he's thinking about going for the epicenter, but decides better of it. Top lane Akashi's going to be spotted here by Jabs. Jabs looking to see if he can find a way in with the arena, but won't bother, and he will actually end up showing himself in the creep wave. Kaori's going to cut off as well and just go in with the Dark Troll Summoner. Try to get some chip damage off onto this tier 2 top tower. Actually does get away with a little bit with the old Skellies. Another smoke up from Aurora. Talon have also smoked up at 3.
Radiant are scanning.
But it's really leading to nothing. They are running back towards each other though. Arbed about to break his smoke onto Cuckoo, but barely avoids them. Akashi still being watched that top lane. Oh, the epicenter, the arena, it's all too much. They'll lose the SF, and now Talon, they've come in, but is this really the fight you want without your SF around? They will at least look for Q. Q still not down, surely goes down eventually, and does. But it's still a very hard fight for Talon. They'll try to move on to Arbed, but Arbed does take down Makoto beforehand, and now Bosku's gone. So is WS, so is Jokam, and it's a full team wipe. Aurora just completely wiped the floor with the...
It's just so hard to pull off these fights for Talon. Every single time Makoto tries to walk up, he gets enchanted up. He can't just come in, cast his spells. He has to waste his orb and kind of just jump in, committing the orb earlier than he'd want to. The burst damage is online there from TA2000. No pipe to protect from magical damage. And really no damage yet from Talon outside of WS right now. Aurora cleaning up here in Game 2 in very clinical fashion. 13-3, 9k lead at 15 minutes in. And Talon, again, still need more time. Need a full BKB up on Akashi to feel safe. Probably need that blink on Mikado. Maybe something defensive on Mikado as well. Pipe for WS is being queued up now. And probably just more bracers for Cuckoo. The one thing for Talon that I feel like isn't contributing as much. There is some good teamfight contribution from Jokam, but the Dark Willow, it's just a little bit passive as a support when you've got the Bristle. It just, again, it feels like you need something that can set up better than this when you've got a very unique pause 5 that you have to play around with here.
Certainly not the start that Talon was looking for to this game too. Amp damage rune now found for Arbit, so even more problems coming in for Talon. Once you've got a couple BKBs up on Talon, I think you might feel a lot safer, but for now, it really is just all Aurora. So take over that dive triangle once again. Jokam being watched here by Jabs. Arena is going to land just in the nick of time, and he will also land the spear right after into the sharpshooter. And that'll be another kill for Aurora. Eventually, as Jokam, he'll get used up after the Terrorize, still trying to run, but it's not enough. The God's Rebuke will be enough to get the kill.
And Jokam's just buying what space he can for the rest of the team. They are looking to farm around top. They managed to ditch bot. Cuckoo is spotted out here, though.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
It's alright for now.
Mikado?
Can't say the same for Makoto, though, as he does get jumped by Arbit. Already committing the orb as well, so he's in big trouble in the Gleipnir. We'll lock him down from TA2000. Another kill to come up here for Aurora.
Radiant's middle tower.
Everything's falling flat right now for Talon. I mean, they're just unable to really find anything on the map. They have bought some space for Akashi on the SF, but you know, the SF is going to require a bit more than just space. You know, you need a team around you.
And he does. Not quite there yet.
Is under attack.
Again, some misplays coming out for Mikado. Gets spotted in the tree line. Pops the orb a little bit too early. Fades once he's out of stun. Can't bail out. It's one thing to lose Cuckoo or Jokam. It's another to lose this Paku again. Every single moment delayed hurts. Find Jokam again. Another freebie coming out for Jabs. Okay, at this point, it's really not worth much. 276 gold plus 87. The net worth deficit. Killing off these supports is not really widening your lead, but it is applying pressure onto Talon. There's a BKB up now for TA2000. So even the burst plays coming in here from WS isn't going to be enough to try to take care of this Lina. It's got to be down to right clicks from Akashi if he can find the room to finish up his own BKB into Crystallis Daedalus here, but a ways off from any of that coming together for Talon. Aurora already just poking onto the high ground,
Radiant
keeping all the waves shoved in, preventing Talon from reaching outside, making it really awkward to farm. Mikado's blink in around 300 gold is going to be up at the very least. So you will have at least one additional tool to play with, along with the pipe lining up here for WS in 600 gold. A little bit further off for that one.
Dire's middle
It
tower
still just doesn't feel like it's enough. I mean, if you get the full commitment of this epicenter, of this Lina coming in with the Gleipnir, of the arena,
are fortified.
it's just still overwhelming Talon.
Is under attack.
Bin Tower still going down here. Aurora not backing off whatsoever, understanding how powerful they are. In fact, TP's now towards the bot lane where they found Makoto again. The sharpshooter though not landing because the spear pushed him back. So Q did not get the lineup he wanted, and Jabs showing up at this bottom lane may have actually screwed him up there. Unfortunate.
Pretty big kill to miss out on. Mikado does manage to get the blink buried out, so he can start to take these riskier plays a lot better. And Talon is starting to hold up into the 20-minute mark, which is leading into that BKB timing for Akashi being finished up. So Dragonlance, Mask of Madness BKB set to go. Again, the minus armor can start to tick in now, if they can line their position up. Talon coming out with a smoke as 3.
That'll be the bottom tier 2 tower gone now, and they are looking towards the Tormentor here, Aurora. I mean, this smoke is nice and all, but are they actually going to find anyone with it? And I think the answer is just going to be an outright no. In the meantime, like, while this smoke's happening, they've lost the tier 2 tower, they've lost the Tormentor. And again, they've really found nothing for their trouble. Very unfortunate again for Talon. Still making their move down towards the bottom lane where they know Aurora are, but it's all too late now. They've all retreated. And I think Aurora, they may as well think about the next Roshan. Or the first one, rather.
It's open for Aurora to take. They've got forward control. They've got a good ward to watch if Talon does decide to intercept. And the scan doesn't even connect from Talon, just a little bit early to try to watch the Roche timing. Will smoke up. That is outside of the ward range at the very least, but they are slow to make their way across the map. It's going to be a very quick Roshan here for the side of Aurora. 2 lives going to be up and running for TA2000. I don't think this team fight works for Talon if you're going to force this one out.
You've got to try though, right? Like, you've already fallen so far behind. They'll miss out on the attempt at stealing Roshan away. Talon now going to have their smoke broken. A double Earth Spike out, and with that, or Burrow Strike rather, Arbed setting up perfectly. WS and Bosku already gone. Arbed still completely alive through this, finally going down to Akashi. But Akashi, once his BKB wears off, he's a bit of a sitting duck. TA2000 trying to juke out and kite out Akashi. They'll jump back in. Makoto, they're looking to jump back in as well. They'll get the Aegis of the Lina, but the impetus shots coming in from Carry are proving to be a bit too much. Zakashi is down. Makoto's on the run. Jabs is on his tail though. He's got the spear back up now. Makoto, he does actually make it out. It's still a pretty bad fight though if you are Talon.
It's a pretty atrocious fight. They take away the Aegis advantage at least, but that's your BKB reveal on Akashi. And that's a team fight falling flat. That's WS getting caught out in the tree line. Jokam falls now as well. Another freebie out for Q. 20-4 as Aurora taking complete control in this game number 2. And Talon, trying something that on paper makes a lot of sense. SF Bristleback. Lots of minus armor, but really not seeing the impact. Just a lack of team fight, lack of control. Very slow lane coming out for Mikado, playing puck up against Sand King of Abed. Things are just slipping away.
He gets caught as well on the Bristleback and Cuckoo. The goo is nice. In fact, it does save him. Funnily enough, or does it? No, it does not. No, it does not. Jabs will take care of it. I mean, it is nice to watch in those instances, John, but the problem is the team wasn't around him.
No. Not quite the heroic gameplay that we were seeing there from the last game. Talon 16k behind, need to find a way to reel it back in. Kashi just being toyed with by Abed.
Sure is.
Abed?
We'll turn around though, Abed. Dropping pretty low himself now. Back the coil from Makoto right on the edge, and Akashi he'll hand over the tip. I like what I see.
Oh.
Bushwhack out onto Makoto, the sharpshooter, even landing, but not proving to be enough damage. His WS will go for a bit of a chase now onto Q. WS maybe going a little bit too far though, as Jab's going to knock him out with the arena and the spear. And with that, WS is going to go down. Just no follow-up incoming. The Requiem just was not even within range.
Just a little bit too far forward there for WS. And not that durable. Right late near onto Akashi.
And again, Akashi, big trouble here as TA2000 getting right to work, but Akashi now going to turn back around with his BKB and try to fight back. They'll look towards Jabs, but Jabs is able to just tank so much of this damage. Cuckoo does go down to the Ancient Grip of all things. Just knocks him out. Jabs has finally gone down, but it's still costing them a bunch of heroes. Akashi forced TP away. Makoto will do the same. And so even if it is quite messy, Aurora, it does still seem like they are coming out on top of these engagements.
That they are. Talon are finding some pickoffs for themselves. You can start to see some of that minus armor synergy kick in. It's just a little bit difficult to handle all of this control with only the one BKB on Akashi. And with WS still being very squishy right now on that Tim, but is trying to work into his own BKB now. But still going to take a lot of time here. Aurora They could try to think about high ground. They don't have the protection of Aegis, though. It can be a little bit tougher. Even Q having his full Ags now.
Q in trouble. They've got TA2000 locked down, but TA2000 is just manning up and fighting back, but he's gone. That's a big one. Jabs will show up. Arena is down. They'll spear up WS through this. Epicenter as well from Arbit to really get the damage up, but WS is still able to chain away, but the impetus shots from Kaori is the real big problem here as they just continue to get so much damage out. And so they got TA2000, but it's probably going to cost them 4 heroes here as Arbit, well, excuse me, rather Makoto has also been caught. The only survivor is Akashi, and he wasn't even there.
Just getting what farm where he can. An opening for Aurora onto the high ground if they so wish. Not the quickest push without their Lina, so maybe not looking for the full commitment. And that's enough to give Talon some room to breed. Aurora's still in the driver's seat of this game, of course. 27 to 7, 17k advantage for themselves. And Talon, they just need so much more. Cuckoo, look at his build. Look at his peak support performance. 4 bracers up. Going for a Ghost Scepter next. This is the way to play. This is how you do it. With support Bristleback, 2.5k HP, 2.4k. Not the highest, mind you, but enough for him to spam out a bunch of goo. He does turn his back around. It feels like for Talon, the turning point has to be when WS also has his BKB. At least having 2 cores with BKB to weather through the storm to help provide some coverage for Makoto while he's trying to weave through these team fights can start to simplify the process. It's just Aurora has a lot of tools on hand. Again, they have their own pipe up on Jabs. They've got the Ags up on Q, so they've got that decoy sharpshooter ready to go. Their own Silver Edge up on TA2000 here. Akashi does get the room to finish up that Daedalus, so if Cuckoo does manage to get max goose stacks off, it's literally, what, 4 right clicks for Akashi with a couple of crits to clean them up. Whether or not they can find an angle like that is a different question entirely.
Smoking down towards the dire triangle. Akashi is around that area. It'd be a great kill if they can find the SF. He does have some help around him in the form of Cuckoo and WS, but it's not going to be the full team. It looks like Cuckoo wants to try and secure the bottom tier 1 tower, but it is going to be fortified, so he won't quite find it. Just drag out the creep wave and don't allow them to push high ground yet. Meanwhile, we do see a terrorize thrown out from Jocap to try and secure the wisdom room, but it's probably going to cost his life for this. So he just wants the XP as desperately as possible. He will go down. Kaori able to secure the kill.
Yeah, it's I don't know if you'd call that worthwhile. You just take what you can get right now in Talon. They don't even find the tier 1 bot because of that fortify earlier on. 18k lead now for Aurora. Just needing perhaps a safety net of next Roche. We'll see the respawn timer in 40 seconds. We do get a glimpse of Akashi as he will just straight TP away. Does bail out before danger connects onto him. But it's still looking very shaky for Talon. You are having Mikado work onto Lincoln's. And again, the BKB for WS isn't too far off. Just lacking about... It does have the gold for it. We'll buy out without buyback on the Timbersaw. We'll see if this is enough. Again, 2 heroes up front. That don't worry about the spells and the control and the damage of Aurora for the most part here. Might be able to make a difference. Just someone to back up Akashi and to provide, again, additional coverage. Take attention away from Mikoto. The issue is still how you start these fights. We'll smoke up. Or at least that's not under vision. So, see if they can somehow find a flank onto Aurora here.
Wrap around through to the mid lane. They'll see Kaori very soon. They'll see Q in a moment. Cuckoo's going to break his smoke and get some vision down immediately. Neither side really trying to get at each other quite yet. Aurora, they'll get to the high ground of that dire jungle. And so the smoke, not going to amount to anything. But they can separate and just split push out the lanes again. It's kind of the objective right now for Talon is to just get as much XP and gold as humanly possible while you still can. So Jabs will show himself in the mid lane there for a second, trying to hunt down Jokam, but he does manage to walk out of there in the nick of time. And Roshan's up in 15 seconds, don't forget. So, I mean, it does start to feel like the next team fight has to revolve around this secondary Roshan. Of course, Aurora in a position to secure Roshan quite easily. That is, if they don't forget about it and let Talon sneak it first. And Roshan now is officially up. Initiates on who? We'll see Cowrie. Cuckoo's going to take a bit of damage, but has the Ghost Scepter, so we'll be fine to avoid a lot of those impetus damage shots. But Jab's going to jump in with a nice arena, catching out 2. Requiem will be there, but it's not going to help out too much. They've already got Cuckoo down, and WS will follow very, very quick. TA2000 getting rid of him, but it's now Akashi also down. Jokam will follow. It really was just that easy once they had the initiation with the arena. There's just no contest. It's Cowrie hands over the tips to Cuckoo.
Just really awkward from Talon. No BKB being popped by Akashi early on. Did manage to get the Requiem off. Makato was jumping in by himself, playing poke with Abed, trying to cut off the blink. But that leaves him in a position where he's not able to back up his 2 other cores. And Jabs gets the very straightforward arena. Roche just going to melt here to the damage coming in from Aurora. And Talon now finding himself 32-8, 22k advantage up for Aurora. And the solutions for Talon again are still not coming out. BKB on WS. Not really making a difference. The right click coming in now from TA2000 is overwhelming. His Daedalus only 691 gold away. Once that's fully up and running, even the Timber Sauce isn't going to be feeling too durable here. We're really not seeing a lot of this viscous nasal goo armor play kick in. Cuckoo just dies too fast. And that means Akashi's not getting the buff that he'd want to melt these heroes with his own Daedalus. So the ideas here from Talon really not aligning. And Aurora looking in good form to force out our first game tree. Once they close this one out. I feel like Talon really doesn't have too much to cling on to here.
Once the pause is over too, I mean, we'll have the reconnections here from Jabs. We'll just wait for Cuckoo to reconnect. I mean, the Bristleback certainly has not performed well at all this game, that's for sure. We just have not seen much of anything from this hero. So, if we do end up in a game 3, I highly doubt we'll see it again. And I can appreciate the idea, but certainly has not shown to be very fruitful in game 2.
I feel like it's less the Bristleback and, again, more of your co-support. It just feels like when you have a Bristle, Dark Willow doesn't really cover your weaknesses. It doesn't start fights, it follows through and sets up, perhaps, but it really doesn't start it. And without a straightforward fight starter, because you have Timbersaw for WS, you're reliant on, like, Mikato to just Dream Coil, and you hope you can find an angle for the Requiem. You don't go for, like, Kayayasha for a quick Requiem as well with Ags, because you're going physical on SF. So SF opening as well with Requiem is not a possibility. Like, there's just no way for Talon to actually set up for a fight. And I think that's their downfall right now. It needed to be Jokam and something else other than this Dark Willow, which just it doesn't provide much. Maybe you break Dream Coil with Bedlam, but that's really it, and it's just not nearly enough.
Well, at the very least, Aurora haven't really tried at all to go high ground yet. It's been a very conservative style of play again from Aurora. Now they've got a full Daedalus up on TA2000, so, I mean, he's already hitting like an absolute truck, as is, but it just gets even worse now. Because Talon, they're just holding onto the high ground, not looking to move anytime soon. We do see another group up by Aurora, but this is the kind of team that generally will just wait as long as humanly possible to go high ground and try to make some plays on those objectives. Maybe now we'll see. I mean, they do have the Aegis up on TA2000. The creep waves have been resolved. They are all pushing out. The TA, just from a massive range, can get this done, but the Chakram is going to prove to be a little bit annoying. Not too much, though. So they do jump in with Makoto. Terrorize is going to fly through, and WS, he's going to burst down the Aegis already. That's one life of TA. Jabs, he'll jump in with the arena just to ensure that they can have a retreat path, but the Dream Core is going to lock down TA 2000. That's the target they really wanted anyway. So TA going to try to run. Makoto continuing to chip away at his HP pool, but they aren't going to dive too deep yet. They'll just keep tabs as the Burrow Strike Arbit going to miss out again. The chase is on now. The 4-man smoke from Talon. But Aurora, they're just holding the high ground of the Dire Triangle, making it kind of hard to initiate as they will eventually retreat back towards their own jungle. And so really, only the Aegis is lost throughout all of this.
Aegis and the banner, which you can recover in the next rush anyhow. Tormentor to be taken by Talon, just finding what they can. Flamethrower up now for WS, not the most meaningful shard. And a little bit more damage to play with for sure. Talon has successfully added at the least 5 more minutes into this game, as Aurora will more than likely just wait for next rush, as we know Aurora likes to do. And I mean, the damage coming in from Akashi is big. Even WS, like, if he can work into the Ags, it's not... It becomes a pretty tricky target to try to burn down. In that Timber Saw, you've got Mikado working onto an Octarine to be very slippery, has the protection of his Lincolns as well. This Parasma has been doing quite a fair bit of work from Mikado every single time he's able to apply it onto the enemy heroes. Cuckoo.
Big danger
Bye
again
bye.
here for Cuckoo. Yeah, he's gonna go down very quickly.
He
Very,
gets
very
a goo
quickly
off.
indeed.
It's funny. It's very, very funny with that goo.
It is. Not funny dying though, I'm sure, for Cuckoo.
He's a positive man now, somewhat. I think I haven't watched his roleplay streams. Gosh, I have no clue how these guys jump into roleplay. Can you imagine all of the Filipino players role-playing in a roleplay server? It's something else. I hear it in the background when I'm playing with some of the managers. Let me tell you, I don't know if they're role-playing or they're just being unhinged. So they go into the high ground now, Aurora.
TA 2000 already losing half his HP here on the Lina. Makoto gonna lock him down with the Dream Coil, but where's the follow-up? It ain't here. In fact, Akashi, he's not even with his team at the moment. He's trying to farm a Satanic while all this is happening. He'll TP now. They want to try and protect this bottom lane of Barracks. Jump in again from Makoto. Arbed misses out on the Burrow Strike another time, and Arbed is pretty deep at the moment, but again, there's just no way to really lock him down. They'll get the Brambles, though. Maybe they can get him. Arbed, he'll get the Yules off now, trying to find an escape route, and does eventually BKB to get away. That'll be another failed high ground attempt here by Aurora. They will want to wait for their items to reset. Talon, they will hold on for another day.
Honestly, the fact that Talon are finding ways to hold on and really chip away at TTA 2000 is, in its own way, pretty impressive. They've got the Ags up on WS, so he can actually commit with the reactive active available on hand. 33-8 scoreline still holding for Aurora. 22k lead still standing. Still a 92% chance to win for Aurora. They've got a Sight of Vice now up for Jab, so they can punish Mikado consistently now.
Harry, gonna be okay to TP away. Very surprising that they're actually allowed to farm any area of the map right now, Talon. Considering the net worth lead and how dominant Aurora has been in this game too, you would kind of assume that they'd be trapped in their base at the moment, but that is just not the case.
Honestly, I'm just surprised that the Rax hasn't fallen. Like, they're not taking initiative on jabs. Like, it's all defensive arenas to cut off Talon from chasing instead of them jumping in, committing the arena. They're showing a lot of respect for Talon's own AoE control, for the Requiem threat, for the Dream Coil that can come out from Mikado. And again, it's adding time to this game. Next Roche, see that timer in about a minute. Mikado is going to be able to finish up his Octarine if he wants to bypass buyback here. And slowly but surely, Talon gets some tools on hand to play with. Huku's still queuing up a Boots of Travel to just try to work the map a little bit more. And Jokam, for his part, has been stuck after finding Aether Lens, but at least can start to cast his spells from a relatively safe distance as well. But again, I'm actually really surprised Talon are still allowed to play this game. And with a 24k advantage, I just figured Aurora would be more confident. I just figured they'd take initiative, but they really do show a lot of respect to Talon. Whether or not they should is a different question. They've got the Satanic and TA2000. This should provide them the closing confidence to actually clean this game up, along with a Sight Device up now on queue.
Well, you've got double Sight Devices available. Like, Jabs has had one for a while as well. And I mean, Aurora, we'll see if this time it'll work out. They certainly have been playing the classic conservative style that we're used to from Aurora.
I love winning.
Almost the 40-minute mark now. Still a 24k net worth advantage. Dota Plus giving them a 90% chance of pulling off this victory to boot. It has been around that mark for pretty much since the 15-minute mark.
Yep. It's just been there. I'm surprised Talon's maintaining that 10% over so much time. It's always funny when they say FPS, and I actually do see the player reconnect from my Steam list. Like, I saw Q go back online, so he actually did reset the game.
Well done.
On pause comes in. Actual issues on hand.
Uh-oh. This time they got him. This time, Abed will land the Burrow Strike, and Makoto has 0 gold for buyback. Uh-oh. Yep.
Committed for that full Octarine like we were talking about there. He had enough gold for it, but he'd forgo to buy back, and now Talon has to find a way to play without that Dream Coil, without that slow, steady poke from the puck. Satanic up for Akashi, no buyback as well. All in time for Talon.
TA2000 getting bullied away here by Cuckoo and Jokam. Aurora trying to go through the bottom lane, but this Warpine Raider, in fact, it's not the Warpine Raider we're worried about, it's just the creep wave overall is just pushed out. T2000 moving in, Arbid with a nice double stun out. Arena is, or rather, Spear is going to land onto WS, and he is down. TA2000 moving in now for the SF. Akashi, he's dropping so darn low. The sharpshooter landing, but TA2000 being targeted here by WS, who just runs in, looking for that Lena kill, but he has no backup. Burrow Strike in again from Arbid with the Epicenter. The Rax finally looking like it's going to go down, and it does. And Aurora immediately back up. That'll be it for them.
Well, we've got some progress over those 5 minutes that we were waiting for Roshan. Roche spawning in a few seconds, or we'll have their safety net up. Talon do get Mikado back up and running. Did only expend the 1 buyback, and Talon will actually go for a smoke play out. They do not have BKB and Akashi, but all their spells are ready. It's just a matter of can they actually find an angle. They did smoke under wards. It's a very telegraphed play out from Talon, but they know Roche is going to be the zone where they have to take this engagement. The double Hex is going to cause some issues. Mikado has to find a way to dance around that one.
Here we go, Talon, they're going to try. Roshan available. Aurora, they are waiting by the Twin Gate. They'll smoke up themselves. Cuckoo will break it, though. Goes the puck. Bit of chip damage onto Arbed. Just trying to get some information of Aurora. I mean, if Talon give up this Roshan, it could be a very, very ugly high ground defense to come. Top lane is slowly starting to push in with this creep wave, but it should be manageable for the tier 3 tower. So Aurora, they'll continue being very patient, just waiting for the right opportunity to jump in with jabs. Cuckoo again showing. Burrow Strike not going to land from Arbed. The sharpshooter being committed, just Q expecting the Burrow Strike to land at some point.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, and Carry's being very annoying too. He's just sending enchanted creeps through the twin gates up to the top lane to just push out the creep wave. And so with that, they've got to just get back and defend. And of course, they do give up on the Roshan attempt here. Aurora will be able to take it freely. There's no chance of being able to contest this play.
Wait, stop it. Aegis going the way of TA2000 once more. They've got the banner and cheese on hand. All the tools you need for Aurora. Surely they can put a stop to this at this point. 35 to 8, 32k lead. And this is the longest I've seen a one-sided game go, I think, in the history of our casts. And Aurora should be able to clean up now. I say that, but Talon has managed to find a way to just kill TA2000 with Aegis anyhow. And that always leads into Aurora taking a more defensive stance afterwards. And let's see if that repeats itself here. As, well, Talon's going to be backs against the wall. All of these tools up. Mikado is just trying to farm his way into his level 25, so the Dream Coil Piercing debuff immunity can make a massive difference in these engagements. Just needs to be able to get himself some room to get to that point. Another Sight of Vice up from Cowrie. Surely triple Sight of Vice is when you can end the game. Surely this is the sign that this Aegis will bring us into the game tree.
We'll see, John. This is Aurora. You
Maybe
know,
we need like 5 Divine Rapiers here as well. That's
oh yeah,
mature.
don't say that, John. We could be here all day if we see Divine Rapier on Aurora.
Can you imagine if we beat our longest series record with a best of 3 instead?
I don't want to imagine, John. Arbit? I don't want to imagine that. Arbit, Burrow Strike is good. He gets out of the brambles just fine. And Aurora, they're still posturing aggressively. Terrorize is going to connect onto Cowrie, but that's about it. And Arbit jumping in again with a Burrow Strike onto WS. WS going to be able to BKB up through this though and be just fine, but it is a BKB forced out and an immediate retreat though. Now Makoto getting a Dream Coil, but a nice hex out from Jabs catching out the puck. Makoto in huge trouble is going to go down. Arbit meanwhile going in with the epicenter trying to chase more. Makoto has no buyback, keep in mind. WS dropping very low, should be going down to Arbit, and eventually they will get him. No buyback on WS.
That should be the end game. I can't see Akashi doing this by himself with Aegis on hand still. All of the damage and control coming out from Aurora. Very heads up play to, again, just catch Mikado out. The mid-set racks are set to go. Akashi does have Shadow Blade to try to sneak in, but I can't see him killing anyone.
Now T4 Towers under siege. Aurora realizing that the buybacks just are not there. Jump in again from Arbit, looking for Joe Camp. Joe Camp getting deleted very, very quickly as now they look towards Cuckoo. Jabs in the meantime, finding Akashi in the back with the arena. And Akashi's gone. No problems here as they do call GG. That means, Jonathan, for the first time throughout these close qualifiers, we are getting a Game 3.
That we are. Quite a measured game out from the side of Aurora. Very patient, and the patience does pay off. It does take versus Polaris to go into Genting at that time.
No, it wasn't.
What?
No, it wasn't.
You don't think so? No, Genting had some weird moments with double rupture. At the least, there was some excitement there towards the end. And that was just a slow and steady process of let's get enough hexes that we can actually kill people and end this game. We had to wait for 3 sites of Vice. Michael Phoenix. 3 sites of Vices. Unprecedented. Next step is 5 rapiers.
It was something, I'll give you that, John. It was something. Well, here's Talon. 5-man smoker. They will hold on to the high ground of this Radiant jungle for now, hoping somebody makes their move up. Aurora gonna smoke as well. Smoke broken on Arbit. Joe Cam will get the smoke break.
30 seconds to battle.
It seems though Talon are looking for an early team fight, but it does not seem like Aurora are necessarily interested in the same. And they will kind of dissipate as well. So chances are Aurora are not going to give the openings that we're looking for. Talon's still having a look around, but ultimately no fight to happen. Just bounty runes, it seems.
The battle begins.
And it'll be a 2-for-2 trade, I do believe. Nice even start here between these two sides. No, a 3-for-1 trade, excuse me. Not an even start, Jonathan.
Yeah, a little bit extra for Talon. And see if that changes things. Should be a faster bottle for Mikado mid. This mid lane matchup was one that we have seen before, but not recently. Puck versus Tiny. I feel like this is actually a little bit better for Puck nowadays, because you gain a lot from phase shift, dodging out and just regenerating for each dodge spell. So you do kind of feel good for Mikado. It's not a bad lane for Abed by any means, of course. You've got the cleave damage up from the tree grab, you've got a lot of durability with your innate, so Mikado's right-click poke is a little bit less effective than it used to be. But Mikado is working that lane well, just applying pressure from the side, playing away from the ward of Abed as well, with her scouting from WS earlier on, and another great dodge out from the mana commitment there from Abed.
A very, very nice dodge out from Mikado. Have a look at that top lane for a moment. Akashi and Bosku against Jabs and Q. Very interesting lane. I mean, you can certainly get quite aggressive at the level 2 mark here, but with this duo of Visage and Bristle. Assuming he goes for the Viscous Nasal Goo at level 2, like, you do get plenty of slow, along with the Grave Chill. See if they do try to abuse that timing here on Talon's end of things. I mean, it can go either way, but I do certainly believe Talon do have a pretty big opening at the level 2 mark in this safe lane.
That they do. Lots of potential with the Nasal Goo, plus that Grave Chill. Even just the poke that the Quilts provide for the Soul Assumption.
There you go. They'll abuse it immediately. Very, very nice. Just even before the level 2 mark, just as the creep's dying, they start running at them immediately. The thing is, as soon as you miss that timing, it's probably not going to work. At the very least, Q does salvage by killing off Akashi.
He does. Does have a 16 charge on the magic wand, so he's going to be nice and happy still with some mana to play with. Not going to be forced to get any sort of regen, and that is one big boon again when you're playing into a Bristleback and into a Visage. Lots of spells being thrown out, lots of value for your wand and stick. And Akashi is going to be feeling... He's actually kind of fine getting a full reset as well. He's got the mana, they've got the Grave Chill up. They can chase.
Wait, so it's half of Jabs' HP is gone. One Soul Assumption with a couple Nazoku stacks and some cool sprays, and it really does happen that quickly. Luckily, he does have a salve available. And of course, he's going to have plenty of one charges here on the Kunkka. There's no two ways about that in this kind of lane. But for now, the aggression does seem to want to continue here from Talon's end of things. But how's the bottom lane going? TA2000 doesn't really seem like he'll have too much contest here, but neither will WS.
Yep. Very stable farming lane for both sides. Not going to be looking to get too aggressive, huh?
He really wanted that Lotus. It'll force him to TP up, but he even cancels it. No problem. Doesn't quite get the Lotus, though. Cuckoo was able to pick it up in time.
He does. It's so funny seeing everyone with her wands in this one lane, having 10 charges for Talon, 20 charges up for Jab, specifically on Aurora. Like, this lane feels like you're gonna have to commit a lot to actually kill someone, just by virtue of Magic Wand. We do get a quick pause. Hopefully it's a quick one, as Mikado does seem like he's gonna not tell us what's wrong. And we just get the go-ahead.
Very nice. Look at that CS board. I mean, Arbit's having a fantastic time in the mid lane as the Tiny here. Makoto, I mean, he's doing some decent chip damage on the Park, but Arbit, of course, still going to have the CS advantage on the Tiny. It's very, very easy to have the CS advantage when you are playing this hero, and not too much Makoto can quite do about it. So Q's going to start stacking up the Ancients already, and maybe even think about rotating into the mid lane, but he does miss out on stealing the Water Rune away from Makoto. Q has been one of the better +4s at just rotating constantly into the mid lane. There's Joe Camp, dropping very low on the Sniper, but he will also be just fine.
This is something Talon has to watch out for. And what we've seen from Aurora, if they're allowed to just farm up these stacks, it just leads to a very fast snowball timing, and Q ends up with a very fast blink timing of his own. Bristleback can play this out quite nicely, along with even the scatter shot sniper and your puck, but they will have to make their way into that triangle to get that done. We'll see if they find the timing for that one. So far, much quieter after the action up top. All lanes just looking to try to build up poke and prod. Like you mentioned, Abed is starting to really find his groove here on that Tiny. And they did nerf crash landing a bit. It still nukes people down if you're not too careful as the levels start to pour in here for Abed. The bot lane, I think, is perfectly fine for WS, but you are finding openings when Jokam walks away.
Kaori, though, surviving for now. Blood Grenade's going to land, or Joker able to eventually secure the kill. Meanwhile, top lane, Cuckoo was dropping very low, still trying to run away with the stick charges, and does barely make it out as he will turn back towards Jabs, but does die. Akashi, he'll go for Jabs, chase him down. Q's trying to help out, but here comes Makoto. It's still not quite enough as they don't have a TP cancel. So Jabs quick thinking to get back towards the fountain. And the rotation from Makoto amounts to nothing because he's still level 5.
Again, coming back to how well Abed's been managing that mid lane. 8 denies on him, leading to that EXP deficit for Makoto. Constantly needing to poke and prod, trying to pick up his bounties just to get topped up. Does get lucky with a shield rune at the very least. But Aurora's early timings are lining up.
Abed tossed back onto the park. Makoto not really taking too much damage, and Abed forced to just TP away. Really does hurt, though. That's the second time you would have really appreciated having Dream Coil available. And, well, again, he's still just about to hit level 6 on the park.
And he is. Just a rough time into this matchup. Crash landing still does hurt with the toss-up. Mikado is, again, just having a little bit of a slower time. Does have the Dream Coil ready now, but I don't know if you're ready to connect onto anyone. Kashi doesn't have mana to try to play up top, no stick charges as well. WS isn't close to 6 yet. So the timings for the puck to play around, it's a little bit early in the game. For Aurora though, they're going to be feeling great. Because of all of this action, their triangle, again, still not scouted out. Stacks are massive now, and Jabs can start to slowly prod at them. And get started to get his own farm flowing and get some nice free EXP for Q on top of all of that. Q will take the majority of the creeps for himself. And again, Talon, no forward wards, no scouting. Aurora gets away with his playstyle once more.
It's crazy how much Abed's getting away with, Lee. You don't want to give a start like this to the Tiny. He's just getting a bit too much farm, I think.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Bottom lane, bit of a jump in onto WS, but WS is still just casually going to run his way out. Carrie's being a real nuisance here on the Phoenix just with those Fire Spirit spam. Now, Abed even thinking about maybe making a rotation, but perhaps just wants to secure the 8-minute power rune instead. Does get lucky. Will spawn bottom, so he does pick up the illusion for himself, and does immediately run bot where Carrie has already died, but Joe Cam misses the avalanche. Unfortunate. So now Joe Cam just going to try for the TP play out, and he will make it. A little bit unfortunate there for Abed.
Missing out on an opportunity. A very important kill for Talon to find because WS has been lacking in terms of EXP, and WS might actually die.
He may. WS? No, he survives.
Oh.
T8, power shot? No, it's juked out. Well, I mean, in fairness, he was underneath the tier 1 tower, so things could get a little bit scary. As WS still could get power shot. But he does have the raindrops, though. Probably will be okay.
Has the raindrop and the safety bubble, more than enough to block off that damage. Still, again, a very slow lane for WS in comparison to what we tend to see from his Mars. Has to play catch-up. You know, needs to be able to hit a blink timing somehow here. Initiate for his team, kind of play around with Mikado, who he probably is the only hero that's set to go early. Mind you, Akashi has been given a lot of free space to just farm up on her Bristleback here, rushing into the Ags. He's going to have an overwhelming amount of damage very early on if he's allowed to farm up, and they do have their stacks built up. No contest into the middle part of the top jungle, so he is just going to be able to clear his own stacks out. And it's not as many stacked up by the side of Aurora, so it's not as much of an economic win. It's still certainly a very big boon here for the Bristle to get into that Ags timing. And Aurora, I think they're still in a very happy point. You know, you're still working towards power treads up for Abed. I don't know if he's going to rush Konda, the Phylactery first, or the Blink. Either one kind of works out here. Blink does sound fairly nice to just get this jump in. And after you hit that point, you're in a really happy spot. Although Q...
Yeah, I'm going to find a Batrider kill for their trouble. So Cuckoo happily takes that one away from himself. Not the biggest kill, but they'll take it.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Not much else really going on though. All the cores just happy to keep farming for the time being. And of course, Akashi, looking back at the Bristleback, is just going straight towards the Aghanim Scepter build-up. And we'll have it relatively soon. He's been allowed to farm for quite a while now. Seems like Aurora are just more than happy to allow TA2000 the same kind of privilege. Of course, TA2000 is going straight into the Maelstrom build-up. But I dare say that Aghanim Scepter on Bristle, it can be very, very scary, considering how early it is going to be up.
Yeah, again, it's an overwhelming amount of damage for Akashi once that timing is met. It plays nicely with your Visage, free Soul Assumption stacks constantly being built up. You have a lot of burst damage to play with. In fact, they're just going straight through the gate. Bosku sends his familiars right across the tower. They'll start onto TA2000 here.
He's already windrun as well. He's got no choice but to try and fight this one out, but they've got the control with the Nasal Goo. TA2000 just so slow to get away. Meanwhile, Jabs does at least pick off Cuckoo, but that's just a pos 5 kill. There's now Kaori also caught out. Jabs still chasing for more. Might run into Joe Cam, but doesn't have the damage. And Akashi's perfectly fine to TP away on the high ground. A nice hit and run here from Aurora, from Talon. Aurora the one paying the price.
Middle tower is under attack.
And yeah, they don't really fight too much.
Pretty heads up for Akashi and Cuckoo again. Maybe a little bit miss micro with the familiars just running straight under the tier 1. Still managed to at least get one stun off with the familiar. And they force a big response out from Aurora to head into that bot lane. They trade a core for a support with a core for a support, but the safe lane versus off lane sacrifice is much better for Talon. And now Akashi's only one part away from the full Ags. That's him making these plays without the Aghanim's, without the Bristleback active. Once that is up, you are going to have some issues here, as you're not that durable in terms of armor from the side of Aurora. In fact, your supports definitely just have no real armor to speak of once Nasal Goo is applied. Even your Wind Ranger really doesn't have the stats yet to back her up in the middle of a massive team fight. That early spike for Talon is lining up much faster. All down to Akashi just, again, having this room up top with the tier 1 still standing.
Abed being hunted here by Makoto and Jokan, but they don't really have the damage. Abed maybe losing half his HP, but still had the one charger, still had the Fairy Fire. Was always going to be fine. Perhaps they'll head up top and see if they can find some kills there. Like Q and Kaori, they are hanging around the area. And Akashi's just 100 gold away from the point booster to finish off the Ags. So he will go ahead and do that. Meanwhile, Abed now does have the full blink up. So you expect him to start getting a little bit more active here for his team. This should be around the time where both sides start to group up and make a couple plays, I think, as got some pretty big core items up with that Ags and Blink.
Radiant are scanning.
Maybe a little bit harder for Talon to kind of look for the same angles. Blink for WS is still a little further way off. And for Aurora, they could wait out for Q's Blink in about, well, it's up now, being sent out in the courier. So double Blink timing for Aurora definitely means it's time to play. Nice and easy setups for some pickoffs. You could probably kill 2 off in a row that kind of combination on hand. See if they'll find her opening. There's that Ags you were talking about on Akashi, nice and ready, but the flump up is here mid with a smoke from Aurora.
In lane, they have got the sniper, so Jokam immediately getting deleted here by Arbit. Makoto gonna show up a Q. The surprise reveal on the Blink Dagger. It's still not enough to kill off Makoto yet as he gets a Dream Call off onto 3. And now the turnaround from Talon. Still a nice avalanche. A nice egg being dropped here. Talon, they want to retreat out of that sun, but it's not enough. It seems like as he drops the arena now from WS, trying to fight back. They'll take down Q. They found jabs. Talon successfully fighting back for now, but for how long? TA2000's in now. They'll take down WS, and they've even got Akashi. I mean, eventually, Kaori does go down to Makoto, but a very kind of even affair between these two sides. Hard to know who really won out, but it seems like Aurora got the better on the gold exchange. In fact, Arbit is back in onto Makoto. Makoto barely surviving the avalanche toss combination. The turnaround is here now from Jokam, but he's just a support sniper. He really can't do too much at the moment.
He can't. Bigger win out for Aurora in the end. That was 2 supports and their off lane, basically, for the carry in mid, plus the support from Talon. A very costly trade for Talon. And a really awkward position as well. A great egg positioning out from Kaori to cut off. The Ag's reveal for Akashi is not too shabby. Does get himself enough gold to just pick up the Voodoo Mask now. So he does have some sustain as well running forward with his full Ags. And is just working towards his full Bloodstone to sustain true, but Talon have to be a little bit cautious. Again, it's still relatively awkward when WS doesn't have that blink. He has it up now off the back of that fight. They could rinse and repeat. Egg cooldown is a lot longer than Talon's own cooldowns if they can find a target, but Aurora are hugging the top area for the map. They get some good forward vision down. It looked like Talon didn't quite expect Q to have the blink, but again, Talon does what every other team does up against Aurora. They just ignore the triangle, and Q just gets all the farm in the world off the back of his stacks. And he gets that blink timing. So, might have been smarter to expect it, but sometimes you just kind of forget. 8-9, relatively even game 3 here. Lots of play on both sides. Does still feel like, again, Aurora is maybe getting a little bit ahead now. They're rushing the BKB for TA2000. Talon will find a tier 1 bot. Can't really get too much more off the back of that. They do have Mikado and his blink up. So, some nice escape maneuvers and cheeky jumps in for Mikado ready to go. A little bit unfortunate as well for Aurora in that last fight where the boat came out, the X was on the puck, but they didn't get the pullback early from jabs. So they miss out on the opportunity to really clean up Mikado a little bit quicker there. And that leads to the opportunities for Talon opening up.
Bottom lane, Kaori able to Icarus dive away. Arbit's gonna TP in as well, looking for a toss-back target. Looks to Jokam. Oh, he's trapped! He's trapped in the tree line! Oh, that's a bit unfortunate.
Aw.
Whoopsie daisies. I didn't even know you could trap yourself in there. Well, there you go. We learned something new today, John.
That we do. It's kind of funny that it feels like Aurora/Talon wants to find weird stuck spots. I remember when 23 Savage was trapped on this ramp by the gate at bot Roshan. That was a very sad sight when that did happen.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, that was very sad, wasn't it, John?
Yeah, it's something about Aurora/Talon, both sides, players who've played there, that just ends up in those spots. Roshan being taken by Talon, nice and quick. Got the damage to slowly get that done. Aurora not in position to contest. Might be able to hope for the follow-up fight though, but don't make their way right to the pit quick enough. Still, Blink Lasso ready, Egg at the ready. Talon just TPing away now. Not all of them though.
Bosku. He's gonna get caught out here by Q. That'd be a +5 kill to come out here for Aurora, no problems. Happily take what they can get, but the Aegis has definitely gone the way of Talon, and Kashi will feel a lot safer with the Aegis in his hands. It is still a very slight net worth lead the way of Aurora, but nothing to write home about. In fact, Dota Plus currently sitting at 55% the way of Talon, which I would agree with considering they are currently holding the Aegis.
Yeah, and I'd say they're scaling again, and there are a few questions here on how Aurora execute on the scaling as the durability comes in for WS. BKB start to come in. It can get a little bit awkward. And start though.
WS definitely going to go down. He still has the arena if he wants to drop it, but he will not. Just accepts the fact that he is out of position and will die. That'd be about it though. Just these single pickoffs coming out once again. Aurora not really looking too interested in trying to capitalize off the death of WS. I mean, Arbet is slowly moving into the Dire jungle. He does have Q behind him, or excuse me, in front of him, but it won't matter. They look to retreat, not too interested in trying to hunt down Akashi or Makoto. And I'm not sure who this favors. Like, this kind of slow style of game between these two drafts. Like, who's it really better for? I want to say the Wind Ranger has a better late game scaling than anyone else on the map, but it's hard to say.
I don't think it's that straightforward for the Wind Ranger this game. Again, Arena can be a little bit of a problem. Just blocking off your damage is already a pretty big deal. The Bristleback is not just reliant on quills because of Warpath. Having the Seeing Red, getting that bonus damage is actually pretty massive for a right-click Bristle, so it's not like the Bristle completely fades away as well. Talon trying to gun for the smoke here.
Lane, they're gonna run into each other. Arbed, smoke broken, but he's hiding behind the tree line. They've got vision of the high ground here as well, the Radiant, so Aurora, they know exactly what Talon are up to. It's a bit of an awkward spot to try and force a fight as now Makoto gets caught by a lasso of Q, but he's still not down. He'll survive another day as Q's the one dropping low and is gone. So they'll drop the egg on the high ground. They'll move in with the boat. They're looking at WS. He drops the arena, but he is going to die rather. There's Aurora looking for more, but here comes Akashi. Looking at Arbet, who's TPing away and is going to make it. They don't have a cancel. Maybe jabs. Akashi will try. I mean, he is a very, very powerful hero at the moment on this Bristleback, but he doesn't really have the lockdown.
Radiant structures are fortified.
And it's just down to how squishy WS is at the moment. Just not a very durable Mars. Just melts the output when he does get committed. Trying to go for... switches it up, going for Yule's next instead of the pipe, which I think is smart, but certainly feels like he needs some armor, a little bit more HP on this hero to actually kind of front line and survive through the onslaught of that whirlwind coming in here from TA2000. Aurora, very nice pickoffs coming out there. You do trade a little bit, but you are happy in just killing off the Mars, keeping WS down. Talon, for their part, just reset, go back into the Tormentor, take a freebie for themselves here. A 3k lead presenting itself for Aurora. And when it comes down to execution, again, when you can just play single target pickoff for Aurora with so much jump in, you've got the threat of this lasso, threat of the X pullback, blink out from Abed with a phylactery into the Conda being built up here. You have a really good spike yourself. You just need to kind of run around the Bristle, which they've kind of done. Kashi, every time he comes in, they just TP away once the stuns are taken care of, and, well, just can't do anything to stop that.
I wonder if they get any more usage out of this Aegis for Akashi. Like, he's got 35 seconds left on it, but it doesn't... Well, he might get the usage now, because he might die if he's not too careful. And it seems like the side of Aurora are again going to retreat, seeing the Bristleback showing up in their jungle. Jab's working towards that Aghanim Scepter on the Kunkka. Gleipnir coming out soon on TA2000. Kanda already up on Arbed, looking for a BKB now on the Tiny.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Is there a smoke to come out? I mean, Talon are grouped up mid lane, but it just doesn't really seem like there's any intention.
No. You have to kind of just chill back for a little bit here for Talon. And their big issue is really just this lack of control once more. I think it's just down to shifting Sniper into support with a Visage support. Like, you have familiar stuns, that's it. In Dream Coil, you're really reliant on Mikado and WS to actually land Dream Coil and Arena Spear. They even hope to pin someone down long enough for a kill. They eventually smoke up. So does Aurora. Boat ready, lasso ready, egg ready, whirlwind ready. Not a smooth fight for Talon, unless they find a flank here.
try. Moving in right behind Aurora, who have no idea they're coming. Arena is available. WS is going to get a very nice one with 3 heroes in it. They've already found Q on the Batrider. Q, though, not dying quite yet, actually making his way out as WS. He's the one going down. Q's made his way out of it. He does not die. WS is the one to drop. Abed, though. Abed stuck on the high ground. Will get taken down eventually. Is now Akashi. Looking for more targets. We'll move on to Jabs. Slowing him up quite a lot here, Akashi. But again, do you have enough follow-up? Meanwhile, Makoto being lassoed by Q. He'll be okay. Akashi's still going at it with Jabs, but Jabs just pops the blade mail and will walk away, as now Akashi may have gone too far. Bloodstone, though, will heal him up just enough, but not for long. Seems like Akashi is indeed dead.
There we go. Another bonus.
I'm gonna find another. Kind of confusing gameplay here, John. I mean, WS starts off with an amazing arena, but there's no follow-up to it. Akashi runs in, no backup. It's a very intriguing fight from Talon. Not really sure what the idea was, and now TA2000's gonna die.
That's intriguing.
Well, what do you mean? Coil out.
What's
onto
happening?
Q. I don't know, Jonathan. Q. He's alright for now. Spear is out. Makoto, though, he's the one in real danger as he does die in the pot. They will try to run. Cuckoo will hold down Jabs, but there will be nothing else to come.
Your admiral is on board.
No. I think in the last fight for Talon, big issue was that WS was kind of cut off. The BKB from TA2000 meant that WS was just sitting in Whirlwind by himself, so he opted to run, but he ran away from where his team was connecting from the triangle, and he just ends up dying basically isolated away. A little bit of a misposition there from WS leads to the awkwardness of that fight for the side of Talon. You are still seeing durability issues, of course, arise here for WS. Still trying to work into that pipe. The switches into the BKB, which I feel like is the smarter call. It is really Sunray that's just causing a lot of consistent issues here. Akashi as well now, going for his own BKB. 2k lead for Aurora is nice, but they're not able to capitalize on it just yet. Roshan is coming back in a minute, and that could be something Aurora looks to secure for themselves. I mean, you had Abed stuck on the cliff as well with a ward on top. Like, that fight was just strange. Very strange. Maybe I think Mikado managed to get the pullback, perhaps, with the jostling riff. Perhaps, because I know for a fact the spear wouldn't connect there, so it had to be something like that. I can't imagine Abed accidentally blinking into the cliff and then just being stuck there. I guess it could happen as well, considering how interesting this game is. You know what it is, Mike?
What is it, John?
It's the time of the day, right? It's 11 p.m. These players, they're probably drained from waiting all day. I don't know. Maybe a little bit EP.
I feel like this happens every time we see Talon versus Aurora, I'll be honest, John.
They get
Blame
EP
the
after playing
timings.
40 minutes. 40 minutes of nothing for both sides. Both sides start to get bored.
Well, there's a simple solution to that problem, Jonathan. That's doing something. You get it? Abed. Clear out some familiars. Roshan's available. They'll do that. Talon are not in position to try and contest this Roshan at all. It seems like they're just going to allow it to go. Maybe just try for the mid-tier 1 tower in the meantime, but... Well, they're TPing. They're going to try. Roshan's still half HP. They can make it in time. Kashi will show up with the hairball. Back to the Roshan pit they'll go. Roshan now 1/3 of his HP available. Roshan still just standing there taking all these little pot shots from both sides.
Oh, Lord.
See which team decides to go in first. So it's both sides playing chicken with each other as always.
It's like the high ground, but it's Roshan this time. He's just yelling. He's tired. Just kill him. Make him suffer.
For me, it feels like there should be a timer where Roshan just goes back to full HP. Straight up, just back to full HP. Screw you guys.
I know, I think another MOBA does that, Michael Phoenix.
Does it? I don't know, John.
I'm
I
not
only played
sure.
Dota.
I've never touched it. No. I have no clue. I would assume so. It sounds like a very kind of thing they would do. That's what they're calling
Lasso?
for. There we go.
They've caught Cuckoo. The Visage, though, he does get into that stone form. He'll be fine for a little bit longer. Boat thrown out from jabs. Does absolutely nothing for now, but Bosku eventually going to die to him. TA2000 dropping very low to the bristleback damage, but again, they just don't have the lockdown. But there's no coil, no nothing. Back to the Roshan pit as 4 now. They lose a hero and they get more confident. Q's going to show up in the high ground.
No lasso, Q. There was no
Q's
lasso,
gonna die.
Q.
Yeah, he didn't have lasso. Cuckoo's brought back now. Roshan's given up. He's had enough. He's left the building. Arvid's dropping low. Meanwhile, WS does end up going down. Akashi getting to work. But where's the damage output? Where's the lockdown? Jabs is going to TP away again. Oh?
Assassin.
No, he's not. No, he's not. Jabs is going to die. Did he cancel?
No, he got assassinated, I think. It shouldn't have a micro stun, right? Minis.
Nope.
It does still have the mini stun.
Radiant's
Yeah, it
top
still has a
tower
mini stun
is
without
under
the eggs.
attack.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one stun, I suppose. That was... And Roshan is still being
Lasso.
taken by Talon. Another yell.
They've caught WS out now. WS, burning under the sun, is eventually going to die. Meanwhile, Roshan does get taken by Talon eventually. They'll hand it over to Akashi again.
What are we doing in this game? What are we doing in this last 2 games? What is happening? Like,
This
I
happens
get
every
why
time.
Talon gets confident. I get why Talon gets confident. There's no lasso, but Q blinks in like he has lasso. What was that? What, did he want to blink and flame break someone down? Maybe. That's the only play I see. Unless he was looking to force stab someone down as well. That was a little bit crazy. That is people losing their minds. I appreciate it, Q. I appreciate that he could have had a lasso. And he shows up. I could have had you. Yeah, I could have had you right there, but no. I'm dead.
Well, there's a Tormentor now to be taken here by the side of Talon.
You know what I'm glad about, Mike?
What's that, John?
I'm glad this is not a best of 5 yet.
Oh, well, don't you worry, John. We'll get that chance tomorrow.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Oh, goodness gracious me! If we get somewhat the same games tomorrow, and if it does end up these 2 teams in the
Dire's top
qualifying
tower is
match,
under attack. Radiant
I think we
are
might be able to
scanning.
beat RG2 IG Azure. We could beat it, Mikey.
I mean, it's almost guaranteed at this point, John.
Radiant's middle tower
Tier 1
is
mid
under
tower.
attack.
We'll go down to the
Radiant's
33-minute mark.
middle tower has fallen.
Happy days.
Some progress. Some progress is good. It's good. 2016, less than 1k lead for Talon. I checked the graph. It's still back at 45 to 55. Nothing ever happens, as me and Neff like to discuss when he does join me for inane conversations about Naruto, a Boruto story.
Radiant
Yep.
are scanning.
Nothing ever happens, Mike.
No, it doesn't, John.
We have a BKB. Hey, I guess that's something that happens here for Akashi.
Radiant's
has
top
his
tower
flying out.
is under attack.
Some things are happening. Full Daedalus for
Dire
TA2000
are
into
scanning.
Satanic. So he can't just pierce through. He doesn't care about the durability coming out on Talon at that point. See if Talon finds something with a smoke this time where it doesn't end in a very awkward exchange.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
The smoke is out. I mean, it's Talon running towards the southern side of the map. See if they can find anything down at that bottom lane. But Cowrie's read the movement, so he's just going to get out. It doesn't quite help that Akashi just, you know, cool sprays the creep wave as he's running past in the smoke. And, well, naturally, the smoke amounts to nothing. I mean, maybe they go for the tier 2 bottom tower now.
They could, if Akashi would join them, but he's connecting onto mid, running under watchers like it's no problem. No care in the world for Akashi. He is a bristleback. This is exactly what every bristleback player does. Right-click forward, nothing else. Press W if you see an enemy, maybe occasionally press Q. He will reconnect into that tier 2, and they will force the fortify out, should be able to find its objective. Aurora not looking keen to take this one, even with all of their tools available. We're just off to work the map, waiting out on TA2000 to get this full Satanic up, and a BKB onto Jabs. Now you have Abed's. Tri-core BKB is going to be something Talon is going to be hard-pressed to contend with. Right? It's going to cut off the utility of WS's Arena by a massive way. Kachi does have the full AC up. Again, tying into seeing red. There's a lot of right-click damage here for Akashi when he just presses R. With the AC as well, all the minus armor from the goo plus the AC is going to be pretty tough to contend with if he can focus in on a target, and he'll just clear another tier 2.
Oh, arrow, excuse me, rather spear. He's on TA2000. He's going to try and BKB and run out of there, and he is going to make it out, but now he's without a BKB. In fact, they even found Q, who's looking for a lasso attempt, but Q's going to die for that. Cuckoo's going to be fine to go into the stone form and survive. Very, very interesting plays from Aurora now. And surely if you're Talon, you just saw the BKB used plus a bat right of death, you want to go high ground.
That you would. Aegis does expire at the moment, so
but they won't they, John?
And they'll try, look at this.
I mean, they'll try to kill Arbit. They know they can't though, I bet. Here we go, Arbit, we'll see if he dies. Stuns are out, BKB pop, they do at least find Carry though. Akashi will take him out. Arbit chased down, still in trouble. BKB about to wear off as Akashi. He's had enough now. God bless
Lord.
Akashi.
That indeed. Fortify forced out, no creep wave to clear out, and the banner is up anyhow from the side of Talon to protect this creep wave. They will find themselves the first racks of this game. Something finally happens. 20-19, 6k lead for Talon, and Akashi doesn't need to wait for too much. BKB is down, Bloodstone is back up, and he'll just go on to the next set of racks. Cuckoo feeling confident to spam the voice lines once more as WS.
Catching out TA2000. What was he even doing there?
Farming? I assume farming.
Yeah, I mean, he has no buyback gold, John. I don't know what he
That's
just
why
bought
he's
for
farming.
I mean, yeah, well, yeah, that's why you don't farm, John. Because you don't have the buyback gold.
But if he doesn't farm, he will never get buyback gold. Lasso's good.
Q's trying his absolute best to carry this game for the team. Akashi healing up with the Bloodstone, still dropping lower and lower, and he's not dead. Oh, he is. He is dead. Carry will get him. Buyback is there from Akashi. He wants this game over. He's incoming from that Radiant Triangle. Meanwhile, though, Abed might have a toss back, but no, a nice BKB. Jabs will be the one to go down. Abed now speared up towards the Ancient, in huge trouble in this tiny, but gets his own BKB off. Now going back towards the fountain. Talon looking at those T4 towers. They've still got plenty of time without TA2000 or Jabs. It's 25 more seconds without the Wind Ranger. Q dropping low, does go down. No lasso available anyway for another 15 seconds, but he's down without buyback. Ancient exposed now. There's a dream call from Makoto, going to catch two of them. Carry will drop. Arbed still trying for a tossback play, does go down. He does have buyback available, but the Ancient's gone. Talon have done it. A 2-1 victory against Aurora, and that'll put them in prime position for the first grand finalist slot. And who knows who their